Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. The powerful evil wizard Voldemort is back after 14 years. Harry Potter is the only one who witnessed his return a few months ago, apart from Voldemort's followers called Death Eaters. Back then, Harry immediately informed the great wizard Dumbledore, the only one Voldemort ever feared. Months later, while Harry and his muggle or non-magic cousin are walking home, they are attacked by foul magical creatures called Dementors. Harry uses the Patronus charm to drive them away. An old neighbor, Mrs. Fig, sees all this. It turns out that she was tasked by Dumbledore to keep watch on Harry while he is in the Muggle world. Harry then receives a letter from the Ministry of Magic expelling him from his school Hogwarts for using magic in front of a Muggle, especially while underage. Luckily, Dumbledore intervened. A second ministry letter arrives saying that their official decision will instead be after his disciplinary hearing about a month later. Days after the Dementor attack, 9 people arrive at his relative's house, including his old teacher Professor Lupin. They serve as his advanced guard as they bring him to the secret headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix. It is a secret society founded by Dumbledore, composed of people who fight against Voldemort. Inside, he reunites with his best friends Ron and Hermione. They reveal that the Minister of Magic Fudge refuses to believe that Voldemort is back. He thinks that Harry is unstable and merely making up stories, and that Dumbledore is using this to destabilize Fudge's regime as minister. This sentiment is reflected in the wizard newspaper Daily Prophet, where many articles slander both Dumbledore and Harry. After dinner, Harry finds out from his godfather Sirius that Voldemort is after something, like a weapon. Harry and his friends wonder what the weapon is and where it is right now, but the Order members refuse to tell them. Harry also finds out that the headquarters is actually the Black family home that Sirius has inherited from his parents. Most of the Black family and their relatives supported Voldemort, even the old family house elf named Critcher. Harry starts dreaming of dark and narrow corridors. He thinks it is because he feels helpless and frustrated. For some reason, he easily gets angry these days. On the day of Harry's hearing, Ron's father Mr. Weasley accompanies him to the underground courtroom inside the Ministry building. Mr. Weasley works for the Ministry of Magic but is also secretly a member of the Order of the Phoenix. During the hearing, Dumbledore arrives to defend Harry, saying that he only used magic to defend himself and his cousin against Dementors. Dumbledore brings in Mrs. Fig to serve as witness. In the end, Harry is cleared of all charges. School soon begins at Hogwarts. Harry is angry to find out that most students believe in the Daily Prophet that Harry is lying about Voldemort being back. He is also surprised to know that their new teacher is one of the ministry officials that are against him during his hearing, Professor Umbridge. Umbridge quickly becomes the teacher Harry hates the most. And many students feel the same way. As Hermione and Professor McGonagall foresaw, the ministry is interfering at Hogwarts through Umbridge. For their defense against the dark arts lessons, she only lets the students read the textbook instead of actually teaching them to use magic to defend themselves. Worst of all, she openly says that Harry's story is a lie, which often causes Harry to lose temper and retort back in class. Because of this, Umbridge always puts him in week-long detentions which involve the cruel and repeated carving of the words "I must not tell lies" on Harry's right hand. One day, the trio read in the Daily Prophet that the Order of the Phoenix member Podmore was arrested for trying to enter a top security door at the Ministry of Magic. The trio wonder whether he was doing something for the Order, or whether he was just framed by the Ministry for being affiliated with Dumbledore. One night, Sirius talks to the trio using the fireplace. He reveals that the reason Umbridge refuses to let them use any magic is because the Ministry doesn't want the students trained in combat, in case Dumbledore forms his own private army to fight against the Ministry. Even worse, the Ministry gives Umbridge the new post of High Inquisitor of Hogwarts, giving her power to inspect and dismiss her fellow teachers. Frustrated, Hermione suggests that they form a secret defense group to prepare themselves against real danger, since Umbridge refuses to teach them properly in defense against the dark arts. With difficulty, Ron and Hermione manage to convince Harry to serve as their teacher since he has the most experience among them in fighting against the dark arts. On their first school break, the trio meet with 25 other students who are interested in joining. They agree to have their first proper meeting once they find a suitable venue. One stressful night, Harry once again dreams of a long dark corridor. This time there is a locked black door at the end. His scar burns with pain. Shortly after, Umbridge passes an educational decree rendering all student organizations illegal unless approved by Umbridge herself. Harry and his friends are concerned that their secret defense group is now illegal, but Harry plans to continue anyway. The others agree as well. Sirius again communicates with the trio using the fireplace. He found out about their illegal defense group, and he is proud of Harry, but as they are talking, Umbridge's hand appears in the fireplace, trying to catch Sirius' head. Sirius quickly escapes. They find out that Umbridge is reading Harry's mail and guarding all the fireplaces in Hogwarts in case they are used for communications. Except Umbridge's fireplace. The defense group soon holds their first meeting in the Room of Requirement, a secret room that Harry's friend Dobby the house elf introduced to him. The group call themselves Dumbledore's Army or DA, and they elect Harry as their leader. Harry teaches the DA different defensive spells and curses. During one lesson on care of magical creatures, Hagrid introduces to the class the Thestral, a skeletal horse that is good at finding places where its rider needs to go. They can only be seen by people who have seen death. Harry can see it ever since he witnessed a schoolmate's death last year. His classmate Neville and an eccentric girl Luna can see them too. One stressful night, Harry dreams that he is a giant snake slithering along a dark corridor. He viciously attacks a man in front of a locked black door. The man, now covered in blood, is Ron's father, Mr. Weasley. Harry wakes up and vomits. His scar burns with pain. Somehow, he knows for sure that it's not just a dream, it really happened. Professor McGonagall and Ron bring Harry to the headmaster's office. In the office, Harry tells his vision to Dumbledore. Thankfully, Dumbledore believes him. He gives instructions to the magical portraits to contact the right people to help Mr. Weasley. Dumbledore seems to already know where Mr. Weasley can be found, and more surprisingly, he seems to know that Harry was the snake in his dream. McGonagall fetches the other Weasley children. Dumbledore explains to them that their father was injured while working for the Order. The next day, they visit Mr. Weasley at St. Mungo's together with other Order members. Even if the Order won't tell, Harry and the Weasley siblings believe they have a good idea of what really happened. They know that Voldemort has a huge snake. They think that the snake attacked while Mr. Weasley was guarding the weapon that Voldemort is after. On their second hospital visit, the trio and Ginny Weasley encounter the parents of their classmate Neville. They are shocked to find out that his parents were tortured to insanity by 4 Death Eaters, including Sirius' cousin, Bellatrix, before their return to school. Professor Snape arrives to tell Harry that he is to take private occlumency lessons with him, as Dumbledore instructs. Harry is sad to leave Sirius alone again. He has a bad feeling about this parting. Back at the school, Harry begins his private lessons with Snape. Snape explains that learning occlumency will shut his mind off from Voldemort so that Voldemort can't mess with Harry's mind, but Harry finds it hard to clear his mind and empty himself of emotions, which is important to learn occlumency. As Snape trains Harry's mind, Harry sees flashes of different memories from his past. Then he realizes something. The black door he sees in his dreams is the same door he saw at the Ministry of Magic during his hearing. It's the door to the Department of Mysteries. Harry theorizes that the weapon Voldemort wants is in the Department of Mysteries. This must be the door Podmore was trying to get into when he was caught. One day, the Daily Prophet reports a mass breakout of Death Eaters from the wizard prison Azkaban. One of them is Sirius' cousin, Bellatrix, who is responsible for torturing Neville's parents. They also read that a wizard named Bode is murdered while in St. Mungo's hospital. Ron remembers his father talking about him. Bode is a ministry official who works in the Department of Mysteries. Harry is frustrated by these news. He doubles his efforts for Dumbledore's army. All of the members improve a lot, especially Neville, who works even harder after the news of the prison breakout. Hermione is frustrated too. She urges Harry to publish the entire story of Voldemort's return with full details, including the names of Death Eaters he saw that night. They enlisted the help of fellow DA member Luna, whose father is the editor of the Quibbler magazine. Many people are beginning to believe Harry more than the Ministry, after reading his story in the Quibbler. One night, Harry dreams that he is Voldemort. He is talking to one of the escaped Death Eaters named Rookwood. Apparently Bode has failed, so now Rookwood sets Voldemort on the correct way to get something. Harry tells this to Hermione and Ron. Hermione theorizes that both Bode and Podmore must have been controlled to go into the Department of Mysteries to get the weapon. Snape is angry when he finds out about these dreams. Harry is supposed to have learned to stop these visions by now. Another big problem arises for Harry. One member of the DA rats out the group to Umbridge. Dobby the house elf warns them that Umbridge is coming. Harry ensures that everyone escapes. He is caught instead and is brought to the headmaster's office. Umbridge and other ministry officials confront him. But Dumbledore takes the blame to save Harry, saying he organized the group. The ministry officials approach to arrest Dumbledore, but he easily knocks them out. He gives a final message to Harry to try his hardest in occlumency, then he disappears with his Phoenix Fox. Umbridge now replaces Dumbledore as headmaster of Hogwarts. She forms an inquisitorial squad, a group of students supportive of the ministry handpicked by herself. In another occlumency lesson, Snape leaves Harry in the room at one point. Harry peeks into a magical memory basin where Snape kept his worst memory. Snape is so furious that he dismisses Harry and forbids him from coming back ever again, but Ron reveals that Harry is still muttering in his dreams about the door in the Department of Mysteries. Hermione pushes Harry to continue occlumency lessons, but secretly, Harry is getting really curious what's behind the door. Days later, while Ron plays in a Quidditch game, Hagrid takes Harry and Hermione into the Forbidden Forest to introduce his step-brother, Grop the Giant. On their way out of the forest, they also encounter the Centaurs. The Centaurs are getting hostile, but they soon concede and let them leave in peace. Harry is soon busy and stressed about examinations. While taking their astronomy exams, they witness some ministry officers attack Hagrid under Umbridge's orders. McGonagall tries to stop them, but she is hit by 4 stunning spells to the chest. She is knocked out, but Hagrid manages to escape. Harry is extremely tired when he took his last exam. While answering, he starts seeing different images. He is running along the corridor, through a circular room, and finally to a room with many glass orbs. At the end of one of the shelves, he sees Voldemort ordering Sirius to take something for him. Sirius refuses, so Voldemort tortures him and threatens to kill him soon. Harry screams, feeling like his scar is on fire. He runs out of the exam hall. He wants to ask an order member for help, but Hagrid is now gone and he finds out that McGonagall is in the hospital. Harry has no choice now but to save Sirius himself. He goes back to Ron and Hermione to enlist their help. Hermione, however, is skeptical that what he saw really happened. With immense difficulty, she convinces Harry to check first whether Sirius has really left the Order headquarters. So Harry and Hermione use Umbridge's fireplace to contact the headquarters, while Ron tries to keep Umbridge away from her office, and fellow DA members Ginny and Luna serve as lookouts. As Harry's head peers out of the headquarters fireplace, he sees no one except the house elf Critcher. Harry does not know that Critcher is secretly following the orders of Sirius's relatives, who are Death Eaters, the Malfoys. When asked where Sirius is, he lies and says that Sirius left for the Department of Mysteries. Suddenly Harry is yanked out of the fire by Umbridge. The inquisitorial squad is holding his friends, including Neville, who tried to stop the squad. Harry refuses to say who he was trying to contact. She summons Snape to ask for a truth potion, but he says he's out of it. Harry remembers that Snape is part of the Order and gives a coded message to him that they got Sirius at the place where the weapon is hidden. Snape acts as if he does not understand. but he secretly contacts the Order afterwards. Umbridge is frustrated and decides to torture Harry to get the truth out. Feeling desperate, Hermione lies to Umbridge that she'll show her a weapon Dumbledore is developing against the Ministry. Umbridge orders Harry and Hermione to take her to this weapon. Hermione leads the two deep into the Forbidden Forest, to the Centaurs, hoping they will get rid of Umbridge for them. The Centaurs did take Umbridge away, however, the unfriendly Centaurs want to get rid of Harry and Hermione too. Fortunately, Grawp arrives and fights with the Centaurs. Harry and Hermione escape in the commotion. On their way out of the forest, they are met by their friends who managed to defeat the Inquisitorial Squad through the spells and curses that they learned as DA members. Despite Harry's protests, the others insist on going with him to the Ministry of Magic to rescue Sirius. Luna suggests that they ride the Thestrals, which have great senses of direction. The six friends, Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, Neville and Luna, each ride a Thestral to the Ministry of Magic. When they arrive, the Ministry is eerily quiet and empty. Harry leads them through the dark corridors to the Department of Mysteries until they reach the room with thousands of glass orbs where he saw Sirius being tortured. They search the place but Sirius is not there. Harry begins to fear that his vision might be false. Then Ron finds a glass orb labeled with the names of both Voldemort and Harry. Despite Hermione and Neville having a bad feeling about it, Harry recklessly takes the orb. Death Eaters suddenly arrive and slowly surround the six friends. It turns out that they are after that particular orb. It is a prophecy pertaining to both Voldemort and Harry. Death Eater Malfoy explains how Voldemort has tricked Harry with fake visions. The Death Eaters were just waiting for Harry to take the prophecy, because Rookwood revealed to them that the only people who can retrieve the prophecies are those about whom they are made. Harry knows they will be in more danger if he hands over the prophecy. With his lead, the six students try to escape. The Death Eaters attack while being careful not to hit the prophecy in Harry's hand. The six friends try their best defending themselves, but they still end up injured or unconscious except Harry. The Death Eaters capture Neville and Bellatrix tortures him while Harry watches. Harry has no choice but to give the prophecy. As Malfoy stretches his hand to take it, 5 members of the Order of the Phoenix arrive, including his godfather Sirius. A fierce battle ensues. While Harry helps Neville to escape, Neville accidentally kicks the orb and it breaks. Soon Dumbledore joins the fight. The Death Eaters scramble to escape. Unfortunately, Bellatrix manages to hit Sirius badly and his body falls into a mysterious veiled arc. Sirius is gone. Harry goes after Bellatrix in anger, but she is too skilled. Harry taunts her that the prophecy that they're after is broken. Voldemort arrives to kill Harry, but Dumbledore also arrives to save him. Dumbledore and Voldemort exchange powerful spells. Then Voldemort disappears and infiltrates Harry's mind. He inflicts unimaginable physical pain, but as Harry remembers Sirius, he is overcome with emotion. The pain of grief is so great that Voldemort retreats out of Harry. Then Ministry officials start arriving, including Minister Fudge. They finally catch sight of Voldemort as he quickly escapes with Bellatrix. Dumbledore sends Harry back to Hogwarts. In the headmaster's office, Harry is filled with grief and anger. He blames himself for Sirius's death, and all for a prophecy that is now broken. But Dumbledore says it's his fault for not telling him about Voldemort's plans. He also reveals that he knows the prophecy. The prophecy describes a boy who will have the power to defeat Voldemort. Either Voldemort or the boy must die at the hand of the other. The description of the boy fit both Harry and Neville. 16 years ago, Voldemort heard about part of the prophecy and he came after Harry and his parents, marking Harry as his equal, but his failure to kill Harry made Voldemort determined to hear the prophecy in full. This is the weapon Voldemort is after, the knowledge on how to destroy Harry, but Voldemort has never heard the rest of the prophecy, which also says that the boy will have power that Voldemort doesn't know, the power of love. It is his mother's love that saved him 16 years ago, and it is his love for Sirius that saved him from Voldemort's possession just a while ago. A couple of days after, the newspaper finally reports the truth that Voldemort is back. Dumbledore and Harry are both vindicated. Harry still feels separated from everyone else because of the prophecy that only he and Dumbledore know, and of the grief he feels from the death of his godfather. Still he is grateful that his friends are there to support him as he goes back to the Muggle world.